What is going on, podcast listeners? It is January 14th on a Friday at 12:27, and you find yourselves listening to Coach John and Coach Jesse on episode 3 of the Hardline Podcast. So congratulations to you for making it this far.
Congratulations, and congratulations to all of our returning listeners. We have so many out there that I think we're like international at this point. So if you have been here from the start or if you're just joining us, we'll make sure to catch you up. And of course, that was all very sarcastic. It's hard to do that on a mic. People can't see my face.
True. It's very straight
Very
face.
sarcastic.
It's very sarcastic.
Just to note that.
Although this is a complete side note, I did look at our statistics off of like Buzzsprout.
Okay.
We do have one international listener.
You're lying.
It was like from Norway.
Shout out Norway, my new favorite country.
I think. I'll have to confirm, but it was funny that we talked about that last.
A bot or something.
I mean, if it is what it is.
Whatever, a fan's a fan. A listener is a listener at this point. We are starting this episode off with another local business, and it's in the name. It is called Jay's Local.
Ooh.
And it's in Allentown. It's right next to Muhlenberg College, if you're familiar. They have a really great setup inside, a lot of seating, free Wi-Fi, a bookshelf with like books. Isn't that just incredible?
That is actually very different.
And they're cool books that you can just look at while you eat or drink.
Did you notice any of them? Like, did one catch your eye?
They were kind of like those coffee table books, like the bigger ones. You know, lots of pictures, easier to navigate for some of us. But no, they looked interesting, a lot of different topics there. I am drinking a dirty chai.
Did you figure out what dirty means for the chai?
So yeah, it's just a shot of espresso in a chai tea. So like a chai tea latte is just the tea with like the steamed milk.
Yep.
I went a step further, apparently, unknowingly, and made it a dirty chai with my espresso shot.
I immediately thought it would be alcoholic.
Oh, really?
Right? Like you can get a dirty martini.
Dirty martini.
What does that mean?
Don't know.
I feel like I should know.
I like don't know anything about martinis.
Me neither.
They kind of intimidate me.
James Bond drinks them.
Right. Case in point. I mean, that's like really impressive. What are you drinking?
Black coffee. But you so graciously supplied me with some sweet oat creamer.
I did.
Which
Yeah.
it makes it really good.
And you said that it was good black before you added it, too. So go check out
nice.
Jay's Local. It is in honor and in memory of a local attorney and philanthropist.
Very cool.
So he has like an existing fund that a lot of their, what kind of take home they have goes into that. So I think that's
cool.
really great.
That's sweet. Jay's reminds me when down in college, there was this really good like steak sandwich hoagie spot called Jay's Steak and Hoagie Factory.
Oh, wow. Factory. That sounds odd to go with like steak sandwiches.
I don't know. I didn't put so much thought into like the name there.
Yeah.
But now I see it. A little odd. Mm-hmm. Best cheesesteak I've ever had.
Whoa.
And
it was in Philly.
It was like 20 minutes north of Philly.
Okay.
It was like Langhorne.
Fake Philly.
It was so good. Bread, high quality.
What are the two like that everyone debates over?
Geno's and Pat's.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I've had Geno's, but that was like 14 years ago.
Wow. I've never had either. That is so lame of me.
Some people go crazy for the cheese whiz about it, and like they're like, that's real Philly, and I'm like, I don't know.
Interesting.
Joe's Pizza in Emmaus makes a really good cheesesteak.
I mean, if it's good, it's good at this point.
If it's good, it's good.
That's how we feel about everything. So, little sip check here. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10. I'm almost done with it.
I am too.
It's nice.
I'm going to have to ration.
So, cheers.
Cheers.
Jay's Local. I'll have to check that out.
We put up a question on our Instagram that kind of asked anybody who saw it if they had anything that they wanted us to talk about on the podcast. And there was a suggestion for our favorite moment playing versus our favorite moment coaching. And our last episode, we went into a little bit more detail about our background. So I think that's kind of a nice way to kind of round out that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have anything offhand. I will start with my favorite playing moment.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, it was in college.
Okay.
And we were playing Messiah, actually. I think it was Messiah. Or it was like their tournament, and it was a team there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were down 17-24.
Whoa.
And that's like when you're like, hey guys, we still got it. We're good. And everyone's like, no, we don't.
Keep going.
We're good, ladies.
Yeah.
No problem.
Do you know what set this was?
This was the determining set.
Oh,
so we
shoot.
were up.
Okay.
We didn't want to have to go to more.
Mm-hmm.
And we came back and won. And it was quite literally 26-24. So we just did a what is that?
9 point straight?
9
It
points
was 17-24? Wow.
Lots of timeouts. It went on. Like that 9 point, it was like probably like 30 minutes.
That's crazy.
And it was just really cool because I think, as coaches, kind of tying the playing experience into now coaching experience, we try to convince athletes of, hey, there's no clock in volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
This is one at a time. This is a different kind of game when it comes to managing situations like that, as opposed to sports with timers and, that sort of thing. So I think that has kind of really helped to solidify my own belief when I'm trying to get other kids to play, to a certain level when games are, score situations like that.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's
it was
really
really cool. Sometimes I honestly don't think that it happened. Like Mandela effect kind of, where you're like, did that happen?
Yeah.
Or did I just want it to happen in life? So yeah, that was my favorite playing moment.
That's sweet.
I don't know if you have one off the top of your head or a favorite coaching moment.
My favorite, it's hard. I've had a lot of fun moments with volleyball, obviously.
I know. How lucky are we that we have to choose from all these fun
right?
moments?
One of, definitely, if I had to rank them in my top 3 moments, I actually didn't even play.
Interesting. But
I was on the
a
team.
Player, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I think I mentioned it in maybe the last podcast, maybe in a previous one, I forget. But it's always a story that has stuck out when people ask me about my college experience. You played for Moravian. Just for those who don't know, I played for a small school called Cairn University now. We played one season. It was 2010 or 11. We drove to Springfield, Massachusetts to play the number 1 ranked team in Division III, and called Springfield College, and we reverse sweep them.
Wow.
Yeah, in 5. We lost the first 2 sets and then won 3 straight. And I don't even know if we were ranked at the time. If we were, I think in D3 for men's, they only ranked the top 15. And I think we might have been 14 at that time. But that was just something to see.
Yeah.
Just that whole, they had everybody. Every position was the best in the country at that point for that level. And just to see, we had crazy outside, but we also had the people to come around and support him to get the job done. And we had a bunch of young freshmen or sophomore at the time. I think it was my sophomore year. And it was epic to see. Just the mentality change, the camaraderie, the support for one another, refusing to give up.
Right.
We drove, it's at least 4 hours, maybe 5 hours up there for just one match, and then we drove straight home. Just refusing to absolutely give up and give everything that we could. On the court and on the bench, we were going nuts.
That's so fun.
It was sick.
It was so fun.
It was awesome. And then we drove home, and we had all of our roommates. We have a little circle when it comes down and around the gym. One of our roommates put his big Jeep up on the sidewalk to the entrance of the gym, and they were bumping music. There were 25, 30 kids just there waiting for us to come back at 4 a.m. So it was a really cool experience for that.
That is cool.
That was sweet. And we wound up finishing that season 4th in the nation overall, which was sweet. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I did not see the court at all that season, but it was amazing.
That's quite the season to be a part of in any way, honestly. Yeah. And I think reverse sweeps, there's something special about them. I mean, I could watch 2 teams that I don't have any investment in. I don't know any of the kids on the team or athletes, whatever, and I would be excited for a reverse sweep. You know? There's just something very gritty, very kind of next level when it comes to the mental part of the game, I think. So that's cool. I like that.
I wish that would that's like that sort of mentality is something that you could key in every single time.
Right.
It's like, but like you can't, I don't know if we necessarily have the mental capacity to do that all the time, but when it happens, it's a thing of beauty.
It really is.
Yeah, so it was dope. That was really cool.
That's a cool one. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Favorite moment coaching is hard.
See, I'm going to be annoying and pick a more not truly volleyball driven moment, I think. It's more so, I coached a high school JV team, Parkland's JV team, and we went to a JV tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I forget where. Central Bucks something, maybe? I'm so bad at that. And we went, like, every year, too, so I should really know this.
I don't pay attention to that stuff either.
It was, like, over an hour away. Mm-hmm. So this was, like, the JV tournament. All the tournaments are typically varsity tournaments, so this was, like, a very cool thing for them.
Yeah.
And there was a delay. There was 2 courts going on, and there was a big delay. Don't remember why. So many gaps in these awesome memories that I have. I truly lack the details. But for whatever reason, there was maybe like 4 to 5 teams that were just waiting around. And this other court was like finishing up. And our JV girls, started playing triples on the court that was done. And this was like in a separate gym too, so it wasn't in the way or anything. And they started asking like other girls on their teams, and we had like this insane like pickup triples thing going on with all these teams.
That's so fun.
And it was like not like just sticking with your teammates, like they were all just kind of like, and I was like sitting there and I was like, am I okay? Like, why am I so moved by this? Like, it's really just a basic thing that's happening, but it was just so cool because you could just tell that, you know, the formality of tournaments and the structure that comes with them, I think are really good for kids to gain experience with that. But seeing something so like organic and natural like that happen, and it was, you know, player led. Yeah. I was just sitting, you know, minding my business, probably scrolling on my phone. And they just did that, and it was just a very, very cool thing. And those girls now, they're currently in their freshman year of college. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was just, cool. It was a really cool thing to see. And I had never really seen anything like it. And I honestly haven't really since. You know, and I think also there's probably a false, or I should say a misconception where younger girls, there's kind of a different dynamic in the sense of the socializing. I think sometimes people are like, they think cliques, they think, you know, drama, and I wish that weren't the misconception, you know, but I think things like that can certainly, you know, be the right kind of things to happen to kind of drive that notion in the other direction. So
it sounds so corny, but it's so true, especially when you get to like see it and witness it like that, where like volleyball sports have such potential to break down barriers.
100%.
And something so simple as like one of your teammates going to one of your quote unquote opponents and like giving them a high five.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, like nice dig, nice swing, like you got it next time. It's like, it's way more rewarding than the win at the end of the day.
It is. So. And I think it's even cooler because a lot of times it's such a simple thing, and the girls or the athletes, whoever's, you know, taking part in it probably don't realize how much it's transcending beyond volleyball. Yeah. So it's just really cool to see that from the outside. So
it's really cool to see the players bring their individuality and personality like that. Yeah. Like, I think of the girl that you mentioned on episode 1 who wore the mask for for the other player who was a little self-conscious about it, didn't want to be the only one. But like it's just cool to see them act on their own to make a decision that's not, you know, following coach's orders and going along with everyone else. So that's breaking the mold is huge, and that's really cool.
Breaking the mold.
That's dope. Yeah. That's cool.
Do you have a favorite coaching moment that's coming to surface?
The one that keeps coming to mind is it's a coaching moment. It's probably different than what you'd expect.
It's okay.
So it's like not a big win or anything like that. It was the after I graduated and stopped playing in college, I stayed down in Philly for a year or two. Mm-hmm. And I was the assistant for the men's team the alma mater.
Right.
And we had a freshman setter come in. And they only had one setter. So I came in to help work with the setter and set in practice when they were doing scrimmages and stuff like that. And I don't want to say he was threatened, but there was clearly some animosity between us as setters.
You and him?
Me and him.
Who would have animosity towards you?
Well, I nothing was like directly said. Like we didn't like, slander each other or like anything like that. But I think this was that like transitional moment for me where I tried to come in and be the player that I was last year and not take on the coach's role. And it hurt, this other setter's mentality coming in, and he didn't feel like the spot was his, or he was threatened a little bit. And it took me a little bit to realize that my mentality was player first, not coach, facilitate, help first.
Interesting.
So when I approached him, it took me a while, and I eventually approached him and I was like, hey, so I think we got off on the wrong foot. I am here to help the best way that I can, and I'm still trying to figure that out, like how to be a good coach, or the best coach I can be, being that this is one of my first experiences trying to translate skills to somebody else. So that was a very humbling moment for me, where like I just came off my fifth year being a part of the team. I was like, the captain of the team. I was the oldest guy on the team, and I just had to hand this over to a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And like I was trying to hold on to all of the history that I've had with my old teammates and the reputation that we had. And so all of it was just slowly going through my hands. Mm-hmm. And again, like I had a ton of experience growing up in college. Like I went through a huge like just life transformation in general during that time, and it was just like I was handing it off to somebody else. So when it comes to a favorite coaching moment, I think that was one of the defining moments for me, where I was like, I am no longer the player. I don't need to be that player anymore. I don't need to be this like, taskmaster and drilling. I am, but it's just in a different paradigm.
Right.
It's in a different light.
And the fact that you took the time, I think, to have the conversation, I mean, that's on crazy good communication.
It was hard. It took me a while, and it definitely should have happened sooner. But yeah, that's
probably a conversation that a lot of other people should have. Maybe not in that exact same dynamic where it's, transitioning from fifth year player to coach, and, maybe in that sense, just in the sense of having conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk to our athletes about how they communicate on the court and what's most effective in the sense of, are you talking volleyball or are you just, talking to another person? Mm-hmm. And I think you need a little bit of both. Yeah. And I think, having those conversations as soon as you have that realization helps to kind of hone those skills for when they're needed on the court as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you need to check in with someone and it's happening live and, there's a lot of different variables. I think, being good at that in the sense of recognizing when it's needed, as well as, using the right dialogue too, and understanding everyone's different as a player. Like, not everyone's going to receive everything the same way. Yeah. That was a huge thing for me to learn too. I mean, as a captain, I wanted to maybe get a little bit more in someone's face, like in the sense of pumping them up, even not even like negative. And some people are just like, ew, go away.
Yeah.
And like that was hard for me. I don't want to be like annoying or too much. So I think that's really cool that that's what you would consider your best coaching moment. I think that says a lot probably about, who you are as a coach and why you do it too. Mm-hmm.
It definitely, it just shifts that mentality from, I don't want to say selfish, just because as a player, I think as players, we are a little naturally selfish. We want to get better, and it helps the greater team as a whole, but I was very focused on trying to be the best setter that I could. So then that moment, that transition from player to coach, it takes a more selfless type mentality.
Absolutely.
Like I don't, it's not my bankroll. I'm not trying to like
Yeah.
like do this for a full-time living, but like I enjoy those moments of teaching, and I love seeing kids get better.
Right.
And doesn't give me any glory anymore. Just the satisfaction of like helping somebody.
And it's I think to that point, it's one of those things where I kind of struggled to not be as competitive when I first started coaching in the sense of being right.
Right.
You know where you have those coaches where it's like they tell a kid to do something, they do, and they're like, "See, like I told you."
Yeah.
Like I for sure was like that. I think at first, and I mean, I think the maturity and like the evolution of just coaching a lot of different kinds of players and seeing so many of those moments, you understand like your role in that was so minuscule. Of course, like the dynamic between you and the player is vital and it's important and it's meaningful, but you didn't create that moment in the end. Like that moment was that person's moment.
Yeah.
And it's like the ability to kind of remove yourself from needing to be right or needing, like that was how I was getting my wins once I wasn't a player anymore.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I was right about that. Like how annoying, like relax,
Oh my gosh.
But it took me a while. So I definitely am not like that anymore.
That's cool. That's really sweet. That actually brings us to like a really cool transition to this conversation we chatted about with April Ross.
Yes.
Give me, I don't follow Twitter. I don't have a Twitter.
You don't, okay, that in and of itself tells everyone. I don't follow Twitter.
I don't have TikTok.
Oh man. You're going to lose us listeners.
No, I'm cool.
No, oh, we didn't do our fit check with our sip check. Remember?
Oh, I can give you a quick fit check real quick.
Quick fit check. Let's hear it.
This is a beanie. I'm wearing a black beanie from Amazon.
Cool.
$6.
Amazon Basics.
This is a plain ash gray hoodie from Ross.
You are a repeat offender here with your Ross.
My
Ross
t-shirt
pants.
is Ross.
Okay.
It's a Hurley, but like I'm not paying full price for a Hurley t-shirt.
No way.
It's $7.99 at Ross.
Right.
Adidas, little what are these, joggers?
Yeah, those are
that
joggers.
Are far too short.
Yep, I can see all of that lower leg.
That's my fit check. I've been
and
wearing
Vans.
those. Yeah, Vans.
Cool.
Got these for some time. I think actually, no joke. I think my mom bought these for me.
Those are your staple. I like those. They go with everything.
They're easy. Slip right in that.
I'm also wearing a black beanie. We're like weirdly twinning. It's kind of creepy. And I'm actually wearing a Brandy Wilkerson
I like that.
Ball is Life shirt. She is of the Wilkerson Hughes AVP and Canada beach volleyball team. And she is a G.
She can ball.
She can ball. And she has like a sweet clothing line. So you can check that out if you want.
Cool. Plug.
I am not sponsored. I should be, but no, I'm just kidding. I got Lulu pants and I got Fuzzy Birks.
I can't believe we just did that for the second time.
Gotta keep it going. Okay, so back to Twitter, which you can have a Twitter, and then you can follow people.
Yeah,
right?
I knew that.
I was telling the listeners, not you.
Okay. Well,
I was definitely telling him. So April Ross tweeted, this is back during the NCAA tournament, mind you. But I think it was just recently discovered some of the back and forth that occurred, and that's kind of why it's getting some attention. So she had tweeted during the one match, she said, just curious, I didn't see one jump server in any of the regional matches I watched, and now none here in the Final Four. And everyone keeps talking about how important winning the serve pass game is. In parentheses, agree, so why no jump servers? Okay? So she has multiple people responding. She has...
By jump serve, just for those listening, we're talking like a top spin serve.
Right.
Like jump. That's what I call a jump serve. I call a jump serve...
Like a jump topspin, but I think she's also speaking to like a jump hybrid as well. Because hers is kind of like... Okay. Like, it's definitely a topspin, but then every now and then, like, the way she tails it and stuff, it just kind of... I don't know. I feel like she just means an aggressive jump serve in general.
Not a jump float. We're not jump floating.
Yeah, but I think she even means a lot of these were standing float serves.
Oh, okay.
Which was...
I didn't pay attention. So.
Which was what I think like she was kind of speaking to.
Okay.
So there's a lot of nobodies responding to this, which
nobodies.
You know, I'm not even gonna say their names. I mean, just you can look at their profile pictures and be like, oh, yep, not valid.
I don't want to say keyboard coaches.
Keyboard coaches, that's good. I like that. So she did though have a response from the AVCA volleyball Twitter account.
Okay.
And that response was, April, statistically, passing percentages are much higher off most jump servers than the jump float 38 to 40 miles per hour. The movement and dropping action of the same door ball can be pretty dramatic. Give me an opponent full of jumpers, I sleep fine. A bunch of heavy floaters, and I worry.
Okay.
Todd. He signed his name.
Hey, Todd.
He's definitely older if he signed his name to a tweet, but
he's in my realm.
I think older. But then this is April's response to that. She says, hi Todd, but when you see an opponent handling your best jump floats fine, a la Nebraska, who is like passing dimes, I have to imagine having someone who can go back and put some heat on a jump serve would be a pretty big asset. Also, switching up what your opponent is seeing would be a smart move.
Okay.
So what do you think about that? I mean, that's like kind of throwing in some context where she's not saying, let's just have more jump servers for the sake of having more jump servers. She's saying in the sense of disrupting what might be really good pass runs with a different serve.
Yeah.
And what different would be at this point would be a jump top.
And just from the tweet, the context of that tweet, right?
Yes,
I said it right?
but the way you like really concentrated.
From the tweet.
Yeah.
That makes me think she's talking about like a jump topspin serve versus jump float. At least from the ABCA dude or whatever the heck. Todd. Yeah. I think from a perspective of like a visual standpoint, everything that we do, we talk about reading, and we learn to read by seeing things over and over and over again. So we get quicker at diagnosing what's actually happening, so I can make like a positive read, make a stance, and eliminate some of the shots or whatever, you know.
Right.
I even think from a visual standpoint, yes, I think changing up and giving them something different to look at, whether you're a server or you're a passer, super important, because it's not what you're traditionally taught to read.
Right.
There could be some hesitation there. I was coaching a lefty at college, actually, and he would constantly, like, he's a lefty. I was like, oh, this is great. He would constantly serve from the right side of the court.
Okay.
It's like everybody serves from the right side of the court.
Right.
Move you to the left. Give them different angles to pass from.
Sure. Have
the ball come from a different angle. You tail differently. Mix it up. Do something different. Had a ton of success that way. Found that the passers, typically, at least in our gym, struggled more. Yeah, so absolutely.
I mean, I think if I'm a passer and I can choose between a float and a topspin serve, I want a topspin.
Okay.
I mean, just in the sense of what my comfort level is, and I think that's what a lot of the replies were saying. You know, I would take a topspin serve over a float serve, especially a well-developed float serve that can, like, you know, really move.
Yeah.
I think like that is a piece of it, but I do think her point is more so having players trained outside of their like norm serve. Like there shouldn't be a standardized serve for a team, I think is what kind of her point is. Like there needs to be some sort of training for players within a team that have the capabilities to do something like that so that they can disrupt if they need to. Yeah. It's kind of where I think she's more so coming from.
So I have, I guess, two thoughts on that. I think there's one talking about the serves specifically, like top tier float serves versus top tier jump topspin serves.
Sure.
A float serve versus jump top. And then training diversity. So two completely separate things. I think that the margin for like top level float serves is bigger than the margin of top level jump servers that you'll see men's and women's game.
Interesting.
Like I think you will see, I mean, women's teams, like they typically train jump float serves.
Correct. I would agree.
It's pretty standard. But I think it's even more difficult to have that top tier, like the aggression, the speed, and the power in a jump serve to make it truly difficult for those passers to pass.
Right.
It's like if you hit a jump serve, if anyone goes back and hits a jump serve at like 70, 80%, it's like a down ball.
Right.
Like from the back row. And I would say, yeah, it's easy. It's easier to pass. I don't want to pass float serves.
I mean, either.
Never.
I hate them.
But if I get that upper like 90% of a jump serve, or like a 95 to like that 98, 99%, like that type of tier of a jump serve,
right?
That is moving, and it's difficult. It's on you like fast.
Yes, and before you go on to your next thought, just off of that, I do think that there is so much value in understanding who on your team would be equipped to hone a serve like that.
Absolutely.
Because you look at, April Ross, you have Micah Hancock from Penn State, heavy arm. I mean, she's not like a big, burly girl.
No.
But the way she can just kind of torque her body, like lefty, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
She's a crazy... Alyssa DeErico, that's another Penn State one. Crazy topspin serves that I would never want to be against. So I think part of that is coaching in that, we can't standardize, especially when you're at that level. This is Final Four we're talking here. Like there is somebody on that staff of athletes that is equipped to do that. And it's your job to kind of figure that out, I feel like, if it hasn't already been figured out. So. Yeah,
and my point, like, I totally think that there are women in the game right now that can hit those high top tier jump serves.
Yeah.
Like the whole conversation about like women can't get enough power behind it.
That is in the tweets.
Yeah, yes. I don't agree with that. I think that absolutely for the game itself, I think that, women can definitely get up there and train to do that. It's going to look different. It's going to look different than what you do, but like they absolutely have the capacity to do it. So I think you're fighting some trends as well, like coaching trends about that. But
one of the tweets, one of the responses to her was, not everyone has the arm Micah, who I mentioned Micah Hancock has, to make it effective. As you are well aware, the top spin jump is easiest to return unless it has a little hook with it as well. I don't think most women are strong enough to do it effectively on a consistent basis. Not meant to be offensive. And her response was, well, it is offensive. Women are definitely strong enough to have an effective jump serve. She said heat doesn't always come from strength. Most of it actually comes from technique, which I totally agree with.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we also just another piece to that. So I transitioned. I was a jump floater for a while. Then I actually went to like this little hybrid, which was super fun. And then I just went to a full on jump serve, especially when I started playing outdoor doubles. But the more I trained my jump serve, like we have a misconception that you need to hit it hard all the time.
Right.
And I think just like offense, like when you're attacking for the front row or the back row, shot selection is huge when you serve. So you can certainly get a ball that is hot and heavy on your passers really quick. Super effective. You essentially, in that battle, you want to overpower your passer. I want to get it to them as fast as I possibly can and at least make them pass 10 to 15 feet off the net. Like that's a really good serve in that case. But like you can also talk about tailing, which you're not going to bomb like a heavy as hard as you possibly can serve to get it to whip around like that all the time. There are definitely some who can.
Sure.
But then you talk about like outside line shots that like they don't need to be a wicked fast serve for them to like pass down and in front of like your passing outside that's toward their line and make them shank left, and same with like cutting it back onto like the one spot from a serving position, or just even going like hitting it short inside the 10-foot line, like especially if you've been bombing the last couple times you've been going back, like they're on their heels, they're deep, like it's effective.
Absolutely.
So the fact that it's just like people are saying that it shouldn't be used in the women's game at all is complete hogwash. Hogwash is what I say.
Yeah.
Because I mean they certainly can do it. And then I guess that comes to my second point is the training diversity. Like we need, just as athletes in general, I don't care if you play a libero position or you're an outside or a middle. Middles need to know how to play defense. Middles need to know how to like hand set a ball. Liberos need to know how to hit. We all need to know how to serve.
Yep.
Like you are a part of a team that in one instance you play one position, but you're a volleyball player.
Absolutely.
Like I've never met a basketball player that doesn't want to shoot.
Sure.
But like what are you like? You're a I don't know basketball positions, but like on your team, you might just be the rebound guy.
Right.
You're tall, jump up, rebound it, and get it out of there.
Or a point guard who's just meant to like facilitate and like assist.
Yeah.
Should still be able to shoot.
Should still be able to shoot. Yeah.
Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. And so we all need to be able to do those things, and developing all the skills, all the techniques, embracing multiple mentalities to the game, super important.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think we're team neutral on the argument. We don't need to be a team.
No, we don't need to be a team because I think it's situational, like right, like
it is.
So for
I think that's what they're missing in each other's.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think April is a little bit more open to it.
I think so too.
I think the game could benefit more from like more women.
I agree.
Jump serving.
Yep.
And like opening that door.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
We are sliding open the glass virtual door.
Yes.
I don't know.
No, that was good.
Going into a different compartment. But like to an extent too, like I had a girl on the freshman team this year. Like she had played before, not the best fundamentals. All she wanted to do is go back and toss the ball as high as she could and jump serve. And I'm like, pump the brakes a little bit, kid.
Right.
Like, let's back up.
Let's lay some foundation.
Let's lay some foundation here. And I know it's not exciting, but like, you don't know how to properly float serve.
Right.
Yet. Like, at least to just like, you can get the ball over the net, but like, let's maximize the efficiency here. So
yeah.
I think we got to give and take.
Yeah.
Give and take a little bit.
Very situational, should be very dependent upon each player, each team, how the staff is kind of laid out in the sense of player strengths, player capabilities. So yeah, I think it's situational.
Mm-hmm. This made me think of something too. There was the whole argument about stats. Like statistically,
yes, they were talking about that.
Like statistically, we have to do this, and we find that teams and they're more effective doing this. Our side out percentage is higher. Blah blah blah. Win percentage goes up. And I don't. This is not my own idea. I think April said something like this too. But if we are risk averse, if we avoid risk, we will stifle ourselves as players. And if we become coaches that are risk averse and we stick to the book, if we stick to like tracking statistics and that dictates the way that we go about playing, we will stifle players as coaches.
100%.
And I have seen that. I have seen coaches set in their ways, doing something certain ways, and there I could name 4 girls off the top of my head that I think like they did not get the type of coaching or reach their potential that I think that they could have.
Right.
In their current season or like wherever that they were located. And I don't think it was I don't think it's any fault of their own when they're not allowed to do something.
I agree.
So
that comes back to coaching, that comes back to the structure that you lay even in training opposed to, in addition to games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like going live, that's where you have players making more decisions on their own.
Yeah.
And they need to be equipped to do that as well as the actual skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because in the Twitter beef, that's what they call it. One of the things April said was, in my opinion, we shouldn't be this reliant on stats, essentially. And there was a response from, actually, he is the beach coach at Jacksonville.
Oh, funny.
And he says, I think John Cook, playing for his 5th national championship, might disagree with this take on how he's using analytics.
When you have a coach speak for another coach,
right?
And you're not
What's
in that
going
situation, there's so much more. I just think there's oh my gosh. I see people talking about like the defensive schemes of like these top teams, like why are they playing rotational in this when their shots have been going here? I'm like, dude, they have scouted for months.
Right.
And they have developed this plan for months. So like what you see is like, it's not necessarily like their hard and fast coaching Bible etiquette.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Right? Like they're training for these situational things. So I don't know if that's like a clout move or something like that.
I don't know, but April definitely clapped back.
Oh, let's see it.
Well, she basically was just like, this coach from Jacksonville saying that John Cook playing for his 5th national championship. April was like, it's okay, I have 3 Final Four appearances, 2 national championships, and 3 Olympic medals using my jump serve. So I think my opinion has at least as much validity. And I'm like, awesome. He started that, to be fair. I mean, she probably wouldn't have gone that route, but for him to kind of say, like, I think there was a little bit of, in his defense of John Cook, him kind of devaluing her credentials, maybe not intentionally, but like just kind of saying like, well, what do you know, kind of a thing. And she's like, well, I know a lot. So go check it out. It's like on Twitter. You got to scroll back a bit. It's back in December, but if you're someone that is into the Twitter beef, download the Twitter.
And what do you make an account?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Probably have to have a separate email. Signing up. My username's probably taken, so I'll never make one.
Yeah, there's definitely a fake John Wilson out there.
Either way, just be open. The game is so vast. There's so many ways to approach it. Like, just
there's no true protocol at this point.
No true protocol. But
if
like a national champion gold medalist maybe comes up and gives you some advice, I'd take it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm listening to her opinions. Every time.
I'll just weigh them a little bit more heavy for my situation.
Absolutely.
Than anyone, advice from me, I would not take it. So.
Well, we also wouldn't be Twitter battling Olympians. So.
That is true. I wouldn't even ever make it there.
You literally wouldn't make it onto Twitter. So.
So I think that was cool. I like that. I think there's the women's and men's game they're different but the same. Like it's so fun to talk about.
Yeah, and I think
you talk about jump serving, like our national team. We missed like 1.5 million serves when we're talking about the Olympics, and they're all jump serve. But if like we don't serve hard, it's a point anyway.
Right, and I think that whole risk aversion conversation kind of leads us into another quick touch point about like expectations. Yeah,
so I was listening. The Sandcast is a podcast, for those of you who don't know, run by Tri Bourne and Travis Merwitter, both AVP professionals, and they had an old pro. He's currently playing, but he's 45 years old, Ed Ratledge. And in context of like this whole, like we can't be risk averse and we need to be able to take risks as coaches and players. I think sometimes we get into the trap where we set expectations for ourselves. Like we expect, you practice a jump serve, you expect to get better at it, maybe a little bit quicker than you think, or your timeline's, shorter than what you actually need. Maybe you're a player that needs a lot more development. Like I think of some players that I've coached that are average in athleticism, right? Mm-hmm. And like they naturally, like they have a good head on their shoulders. They're smart. They have good volleyball IQ, but like they just need to work a little bit harder than someone who is a little bit more athletic.
Sure.
So, like we set expectations for ourselves. And Ed said something really cool. I forget the context of it. It's the second newest episode on there, where he just said expectations are the thief of joy. And I thought that was cool. Like we put so much value into, especially with sports, like trying to get better as quickly as possible to be that top dog. Again, we come back to like this almost selfish mentality where it's not like pure selfishness where, you're greedy and terrible, but
not that kind.
But yeah, like when we don't achieve, like when we take risks and we don't achieve what we think we should get ever, or just in the time frame that we set for ourselves, like it's very demotivating and hopeless, and that can be really hard.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to speak for Ed, but it sounds like it's probably not even just the concept of expectations. Of course we're gonna have those. It's more so the adherence to them, right? And like your commitment to them, and not your commitment to the process, and the process of trying to achieve those expectations. I think, if we kind of adhere to this is where I should be at right now, and we compare our timeline against somebody else's timeline, like that's just, you're losing out on so much.
Yeah. I've chatted with my wife a few times about this, where like we have a goal set and we want to achieve something, and often in the beginning you're extremely motivated to go and get said goal or dream, and during that process, like, you take risks, you set expectations for yourself, but oftentimes, coming back to your point about being committed to the process, that motivation to achieve that particular thing dies off extremely quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that specific thing is not what's going to fulfill you. It's the dedication to the process that keeps you coming back, and that's when you will find success and actually achieve that said thing, not just the desire of wanting it. Isn't going to get you there.
Yeah. Have you read the book Atomic Habits?
Mm-mm.
It's like that. It's all about like personal growth and kind of developing systems within your life for your personal goals. So it's not, specific to any kind of industry like sport or, anything like that. It's just a person who wants to be better. And this guy, he's I forget his name, the author, but he was a former baseball player.
Okay.
He's very interested in like personal finance, so he has a lot of different areas that he's kind of tied together to kind of come up with this book that I have found so helpful. And I think the biggest takeaway that really relates to that is he kind of says with goals, we need to, and obviously it's in the title, Atomic Habits. So we need to kind of create these systems of small habits, because what happens when you get your goal? Like, then what? Like, if you're just simply striving for a goal or an outcome and you're not really focusing on the process or building, all of those different habits to get to that goal, what happens after you get the goal? You know what I mean? In this situation, you would have all of these great small systems built into your life, whether it be, just simple things like organization or, self-care time throughout your day. Like, you set aside a certain time every day, you do this for 5 minutes, and that's like your time. And eventually you might get to the goal where you are meditating for an hour every day. But then if that falls apart, you'll still have that 5 minutes with yourself, because that's part of your system now.
Yeah.
So it was just really cool to kind of see somebody who has his hands in so many different worlds kind of speak to how important the process is and how that transcends over everything. Of course it's relatable to sports, but also just, life. Like, we
general.
aren't just our sport, as we talk about. So
yeah, we often find pain or joy at the peaks and valleys of our lives, and we forget the actual journey in between. Yeah. Like, that's what actually forms the peak or the valley. Yeah. And that's where we're made. Yeah. Like, the goal at the end doesn't, make us. Right. It's the process. So that's really cool.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
What's that, the Sixers thing, right?
I don't know. Sure.
I think the Sixers say that.
The Berenstein Bears. Bad news Bears.
I was going to say, what? We just, really flew to a different conversation. That's like a child's book, yeah. It's like a series. Oops. I have not heard that in probably 15 years. So.
Don't know where I pulled it out from. So.
Well, this weekend we have a bunch of our friends heading out to Atlantic City for... it's like an adult...
Rolling dice.
They're gambling. I want to wish our friends luck gambling. No, there's a great tournament out there over at Harrah's, I believe. So good luck to everybody who's traveling, and safe travels, as there will be a snowstorm. But
I hear it's Sunday to Monday, though.
Okay. Well, that would be on the way home, so... Stay another night, guys.
I ain't want to drive in that.
Head to the slots. That sounded so fake. That's how much not of a gambler I am. Head to the slots.
I've gambled once.
Me too.
Not fun.
And I literally just pulled the lever on a slot machine. That's why I went to slots. So yeah.
Anything else? Wrap up?
No, I mean, we are, as of this week, we are 1 week down of like a full week training with our athletes. So
it's been fun.
So fun. We have some new faces. Yeah. We have some old ones.
Some old ones.
Not in age, but familiar, I should say. So yeah, it's been a great time, and we're excited to kind of, keep going with the gym time and. Yeah.
Hit us up if you need any lessons, or even if you just want to chat. That'd be fun.
Yeah, 100%. We have people reach out sometimes on the TikTok.
Tick.
Ask for some tips. That's fine. We are happy to help. So
We should post another like tips video on there. Those are fun.
Yeah.
I like doing those this week.
Okay.
Cool.
Check out our TikTok. Like, subscribe, comment. That's what everyone says.
For what? That's a YouTube thing. I know YouTube.
Oh, okay. That's where your strength is in social media.
Just because I'm a lurker. I just watch. I don't comment. I don't subscribe. I don't do anything. So
if you're not a lurker,
yeah,
you know where to find us.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to episode 3. 2 weeks from now, launching episode 4. You can check us out on Buzzsprout, Podbean. We also put these up on YouTube. Hopefully this is our last one that is not filmed. You don't have to stare at a black screen with like our, even as cool as our logo is.
Right.
Hopefully we will have film up next week for you. And Spotify.
Yeah. You'll be able to see our fit checks live.
Oh.
Ooh, we gotta make sure we have cool
outfits. I'll have to like
on.
actually make sure that I look presentable.
Yeah, same.
Like last week I was just, my beard was huge and not good. I was looking like a scraggly caveman.
We'll make sure we won't.
Yeah. It is what it is. It's
Get
me.
that in front of other people. Just kidding. Yeah, but we'll see everyone in 2 weeks.